Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're taking a close look at the Magellan-Class battleship, specifically how it shows up in Mobile Suit Gundam, the origin.
Right. And this isn't just, about a cool ship design. It's really about understanding a shift in warfare, a technological turning point within the origin narrative.
Exactly. We've got the specs, the history, battle details, all focused on this version.
Yep. And the goal is to figure out why this warship matters, its role in those early Universal Century fights.
Okay, so let's start at the beginning. Where did the Magellan even come from?
Well, it came out of the Earth Federation Force's 70s Armament Reinforcement Plan. Basically, their answer to rising tensions with the space colonies, especially Side 3, Zeon, basically.
And the timing is interesting, right? Deployed in UC-0007.
Yeah, almost 10 years before the One-Year War really kicked off, so it was a veteran ship by then. But its design really shows that pre-mobile suit thinking.
Designed and mass-produced by the EFF, so clearly meant to be a backbone ship for their fleet.
Absolutely. And for the origin, the design we see is by Mika Akitaka. It looks quite different from Kunio Okawara's original 79 version.
A key point here, I think, is that it was designed before mobile suits were the big deal.
Exactly. So, it didn't have built-in ways to launch MS or, frankly, fight them effectively.
The Federation was planning against Side 3's build-up, sure, but they were thinking big ships, heavy guns.
Not agile little mechs. They seem to have underestimated the mobile suit concept, really. The Magellan was tough, heavily armed, but optimized for ship-to-ship slugfests. That whole doctrine was about to become, less relevant, using it as an MS carrier later. That was pure improvisation.
So let's talk hardware. The origin version was big, like 346 meters long.
Yeah, 346.6 meters long, 128.6 high, 121.6 wide, considerably bigger than the classic version. Shows you where the Federation's head was at traditional naval power projection.
We don't have exact weight or propulsion specifics for this version, though.
No, those details are a bit murky for the origin take,
Yeah.
but we know about its sensors, advanced radar systems.
Which brings us to Minovsky particles.
Right, the big game changer. Those particles just wreck radar and guidance systems. So great sensors suddenly become much less effective, a major weakness.
It also had that interesting escape shuttle underneath, right, for atmospheric re-entry.
Yeah, a ventral shuttle, doubled as an escape pod, shows some thought for crew survival. And there's an optional booster for near-Earth operations, too.
Okay, firepower. What was it packing in the origin?
Primary punch came from two twin mega-particle cannons. Big beam weapons, dorsal and ventral. Long range, high power. Theoretically, they could outrange Zeon's Musai cruisers.
And backed up by secondary turrets.
6 twin megaparticle cannon turrets scattered around the hull for, wider firing arcs.
But wasn't there a variant, the Anenka?
Ah, right. General Revel's flagship. It swapped out a missile system, likely a VLS vertical launch system, for a 7th secondary turret. A bit more direct firepower. Standard Magellans likely had that VLS for anti-ship missiles.
They weren't all beam weapons, though. Had missiles in the bow, too.
4 launchers up front.
Right.
Yeah. And lots of machine guns for point defense. But those machine guns, pretty useless against mobile suit armor.
And the main guns, relying on radar.
Became a huge problem in combat zones flooded with Minovsky particles. Your accuracy just plummets.
So operationally, this was meant to be the Federation's main ship of the line, the core of their fleets, flagships for admirals.
Absolutely. The foundation of its offensive, as they put it. Pre-war, it probably seemed incredibly powerful against conventional ships.
Then came the Battle of Loom.
And everything changed. Mobile suits just danced around at shots the targeting couldn't keep up.
Char Aznable Bagum 5 Magellans himself is quite the statistic.
It really is. It highlights the vulnerability perfectly. Add in the Minovsky interference, crippling sensors and beams.
Yeah. And they weren't even built to carry MS properly at first. Just bolting them onto the outside seems desperate.
It was a stopgap, for sure. Tactically, they were supposed to work with Salamis cruisers, Lepanto frigates. But with sensors hampered, those little duckbill recon ships became critical.
The loss of the Ananti at Loom and Revel's capture? That must have been a massive blow.
Huge. It really showed how vulnerable these capital ships were, and the strategic cost was enormous.
Speaking of the Ananki, that's the main variant we see in Origin, with its extra turret for command duties.
Right. And we know about Admiral Tianum's fleet, too, about 15 Magellans. They held off Duzzle's Abi initially because their guns had longer range.
But had to pull back after Revel's fleet got smashed.
Exactly. Allowed Zeon to consolidate their hold on Loom. There's another name, the Forrestal. but not much detail on its service and origin.
So the Ananke is the key variant example, and you mentioned the Magellan Kai later on.
Yeah, just briefly.
Okay.
The post-war upgrade. It shows they learned their lesson, integrated proper mobile suit facilities. It really demonstrates how combat experienced forces designs to evolve, sometimes brutally.
So wrapping up, the Magellan and the origin.
Yep.
It's this symbol of old power. Impressive, but ultimately outpaced.
Totally. A stark contrast between its intended role as this dominant capital ship and how it actually fared against Zeon's new mobile suit tactics.
The Battle of Loom really crystallizes that. It exposed the Federation's flawed strategy in a big way.
And it makes you think, doesn't it? How quickly seemingly dominant attacker strategies can just become obsolete when something truly disruptive comes along. What other unsinkable ships out there in any field might be more fragile than we assume?